Hey, what's up, gearheads? MotoWeasel here. Today, I just want to talk to you guys about the soul of a motorcycle. So, if you take a 30-year-old Japanese metric cruiser, it starts instantly. It has faded paint, tire chrome, analog gauges, carburetors, and probably a few bolts that have not moved since the 1990s, and yet it runs. Meanwhile, a $40,000 modern custom is stranded because one small sensor decided to fail. Not a blown engine, not a broken transmission, not a snapped chain, a sensor. That raises a real question. How did an old, mass-produced Japanese cruiser become a dependable survivor, while some modern high-dollar customs can be stopped cold by plastic connectors, software logic, and electronics nobody can diagnose without a laptop? So maybe the question is not whether motorcycles have become more advanced. Maybe the question is whether we trade away the soul of the machine. There is something different about a 1990s V-twin. It's not better on paper. It's not faster. It's not cleaner. It's not more efficient. It's different. It does not idle like a machine trying to satisfy a computer. It breathes. It shakes. It has rhythm. It misses the beat just enough to remind you that combustion is violent, mechanical, and beautifully imperfected. Every pulse comes through the frame, every vibration reaches the bars, every sound tells you something. Cold start, you hear it. Rich mixture, you smell it. Idle too low, you feel it. The bike's not hiding anything from you. A carbonated cruiser has a physical connection that modern bikes often smooth away. You're not making a request. You're pulling a cable, you're opening a butterfly, you're asking air, fuel, spark, and compression to work together. And when it works, it feels alive. Modern EFI customs are smoother, cleaner, and more precise. They are better in measurable ways. Sometimes they feel sanitized. The idle is regulated, the fuel is calculated, the throttle response is interpreted, the computer is constantly correcting the personality out of the motorcycle. That's the trade-off. Technical perfection can sometimes feel emotionally empty. Beauty of a 90s metric cruiser is not that it never breaks, because it does break, but when it breaks, it usually breaks in a way you can understand. Fuel, air, spark, compression. That's the whole religion. A dirty car can be cleaned. A bad plug can be replaced. A weak battery can be tested. A cracked vacuum line can be found with your eyes and hands. You don't need a subscription. You don't need a dealer login. You don't need proprietary software. You just need basic tools, patience, and the willingness to get your hands dirty. Again, modern motorcycles brought real progress. More power, better emissions, better cold starts, better fuel economy, better safety systems, but progress came with a price. Throttle position sensors, crank position sensors, oxygen sensors, tip over sensors, immobilizers, ECUs, body control models, electronic throttles, ride mode, software maps. Each part may be reliable on its own, but the system becomes fragile when everything depends on everything else. A motorcycle used to ask one simple question, guys. Do I have fuel and spark? Now it asks, have all required modules agreed that the operation is permitted? That is a very different machine, and that is where the modern custom scene runs into a problem. A motorcycle can be expensive without being durable. A bike can look like art and still be a maintenance nightmare. A clean handlebar does not mean a clean electrical system. A hidden battery does not mean better engineering. A tucked away wiring harness does not mean better serviceability. Sometimes it just means the failure points are harder to reach, and when modern electronics fail, the rider often loses one thing. An old motorcycle gives them control. The old bike may run badly, it may cough, it may leak, may need choke, throttle, and a little persuasion, but it will usually try. Modern system may simply say no. No start, no throttle, no ignition, no workaround. The machine may be physically capable of running, but electrically forbidden from doing so. That is what makes the failure feel different. It's not just broken, it has locked you out. This is why builders keep returning to vintage metric cruisers, not because they are rare, not because they are prestigious, not because they dominate a spec sheet. They come back because these bikes are honest. A Honda Shadow, a Yamaha Virgo, a Suzuki Intruder, a Kawasaki Vulcan. These machines were built for regular people. They were designed to start, commute, cruise, sit outside, get ignored, and keep going. They were not luxury objects. They were transportation with character. And decades later, the simplicity has become valuable. The custom scene used to chase the newest platform, the cleanest electronics, and the most advanced components, but more builders are realizing something important. Authenticity is hard to manufacture. You can still fake patina, you can tune exhaust sound, you can design around nostalgia, but you cannot fake the feeling of a machine that is mechanically connected from your hand to the rear wheel. You cannot fake real vibration, you cannot fake analog feedback, you cannot fake the confidence of knowing that if something goes wrong, the bike can still be understood. There's a physical comfort in riding a purely mechanical motorcycle. That comfort is not just nostalgia, it's trust. The machine is not waiting on a software update, it is not dependent on an app, it does does not care whether the manufacturer still supports the system, does not have a digital permission structure between you and the engine. There is no invisible authority deciding whether your motorcycle is allowed to function. You turn the key, you give it fuel, you hit the starter, and the machine answers. That relationship matters. A cable throttle is not romantic just because it's old. It's romantic because it's direct. A carburetor is not charming because it's inefficient. It's charming because you can understand it. Analog gauges are not better because they're more accurate. They are better because they ask nothing from you except attention. The machine speaks in symptoms, not error codes. And for a lot of riders, that is the difference between ownership and dependency. Modern manufacturing has achieved incredible things. Today's motorcycles can be faster, cleaner, safer, and more efficient than anything from the 1990s, but somewhere along the way, guys, repairability became optional. Plastic replaced metal, sealed units replaced serviceable parts, software replaced mechanical adjustment, modules replaced simple circuit, and when everything is integrated, nothing is truly simple. A broken switch is no longer just a broken switch. A felt sensor may not just report a problem, it may prevent the entire motorcycle from operating. The machine becomes less like a tool and more like a locked device. That is where riders start to push back, because a motorcycle is not supposed to feel disposable. It's supposed to feel like something you can keep alive. People love to say machines don't have a soul. Maybe they're right. Maybe a motorcycle is just steel, aluminum, rubber, fuel, and spark. But if that is true, why does one bike feel alive while another feels like an appliance? Why does an old cruiser with faded paint and an imperfect idle make people stop and listen? Why does a bike that shakes, smells, and clicks sometimes feel more trustworthy than one with perfect diagnostics and a digital display? Maybe the soul is not inside the machine. Maybe the soul is in a relationship, the ability to listen, to understand, to fix, to adjust, to keep going. A machine has character when it lets you participate in survival, and that is what many modern bikes are missing today. This is not about pretending to pass as perfect, guys. Old bikes have problems. Carbs gum up, rubber dries out, grounds corrode, stators fail, parts get harder to find. A 90s cruiser is not magic, but it's legible. You can learn its language. And once you do, it becomes less intimidating than a modern system designed to be diagnosed by software you don't own. That is the real difference. Old motorcycles fail mechanically. Modern motorcycles can fail electronically, digitally, and sometimes administratively. One breaks because the part wore out, the other can break because a sensor module or software condition refused permission. And emotionally, those failures do not feel the same. So when a 30-year-old Japanese cruiser starts instantly while an expensive modern custom sits stranded by a sensor failure, it tells us something. Not that old is always better, not that technology is bad, but that simplicity has value, mechanical honesty has value, repairability has value. And maybe the custom scene is not moving backward by returning to vintage metric frames. Maybe it's correcting its course. Maybe riders are not just chasing nostalgia anymore. Maybe they are looking for motorcycles that still feel like motorcycles. Machines with a pulse, machines with flaws, machines you can understand, because when the starter turns and that old V-twin catches on the first try, you're reminded of something modern engineering sometimes forgets. A motorcycle does not need to be perfect to be loved. It just needs to feel alive. Alright guys, if you like what I had to say, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about that. Do you think that motorcycles are getting too tech heavy these days and we should start going back to old school? Drop a comment below, let me know guys. Thank you, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.